The beloved brawler Tirpitz was recently buffed after nearly 5 years of being in our game, and now it's a little more apparent why. So this more powerful, shiny Tirpitz could be brought into the game. Now, it's debatable how much better the new Tirpitz is, but I'm going to let you be the judge of that. Here are the stats. The old Tirpitz, you have 2 seconds faster reload. New Tirpitz, this looks like a nerfed stat, 2 seconds, right? Keep in mind that Tirpitz had a 25-second reload for almost 5 years. It was just buffed up to 24 seconds just a little while ago. So for 5 years, 25 seconds served OG Tirpitz just fine. So you have a 1 second nerf on the new BA Tirpitz, we'll call it that. Old Tirpitz, 1.95 Sigma. Again, this was just buffed. For 5 years, you had a 1.90 Sigma and it served the Tirpitz just fine. So those are your 2 big nerfs for the new Tirpitz. Now let's talk about the increased stats. New Tirpitz gets a full kilometer better secondary range. And the secondary DPM, it looks lower in this number, right? Not really though, because the larger 150mm guns have a buffed reload, while the smaller guns have a nerfed reload. Overall, it means that even though this DPM number is smaller here, you're going to deal more damage because it's from the larger 150mm guns, and they have a 3% higher fire chance. So if that kind of makes sense. New Tirpitz also has 0.4 of a kilometer better concealment, 3 kilometers better torp range, and the torps are faster, along with reloading 10 seconds more. So on the concealment buff alone, I think the new BA Tirpitz is better. I mean, that's huge. It is a very important factor for a brawling battleship. The new Tirpitz also gets a new secondary targeting consumable, the Enhanced Secondary Targeting 2. This is how it compares to the OG. You're going to get a little additional reload at the cost of the accuracy. More testing is needed to tell if this is actually worth it or not, but it is a shiny new consumable that looks cool. And, it's possible that that is just the gimmick there. I mean, they could have just as easily changed the stats on it and left it the same consumable like the sonars. Well, all the sonars are different, but they have the same symbol. Now, as for the rest of my build, we are playing the ship as a hybrid. I have used Aiming Systems Mod 1 as well as the secondary module in Slot 2. I'm still trying to decide which one I like more. The secondary module will boost your secondary battery range up to 10.6 kilometers with this build. As for the commander, no, I am not using the new collab commander. I cannot be asked to level up another German brawling commander. I can't do it. I don't care what the perks are. I don't care what the skills are. I'm just not interested. There are now 9 German battleship commanders. 7 of them are premium paid commanders. So hopefully another CC will cover that for you guys. Personally, I'm using celiacs with my traditional fire build. To be 100% honest, I still don't really think it's worth a full secondary build on the Tirpitz, the BA Tirpitz. Zieten, Bismarck B, and Brandenburg are probably the only German battleships at the tier worth full secondaries, so perhaps a hybrid is the best way to go. If you're free to play, you could use D. Ravel and Fischer for a BB reload build, Kondo for more stealth, or Von Hipper for more secondaries. On this build, we have the sea detection down to 12.9 kilometers on this version of the Tirpitz, which is really spicy for a big brawling battleship like this. It's such an important stat, and yeah, we are going to show it off here on North. It's a pretty fun brawling game, and then the second game, I'm going to show you what the game will actually look like when you get the ship to take it out. So first game, fun brawling. The second game is more like what 75% of your games are going to be like. That's the thing about these ships. You might have an excellent, amazing brawler, great torps, great secondaries, all of that. It probably doesn't matter in most matches because you're not going to get to brawl. That's just how the game goes. People who push in are punished, especially those who push in early. There are going to be destroyer-heavy games, just like this one you see here. 4 destroyers, all battleships, and a carrier. No cruisers to speak of, really, and that is just how the games have been kind of going here lately, and it's not very conducive for brawling. Still, though, that is not going to stop us from having a good, fun match and a great brawl. So let's position over here by these islands. We were spotted on our way to B-Cap, and the carrier is showing us there's a DD right there trying to sneak through, And that is why we're going to stop here at these islands to protect ourselves from the torpedoes that are definitely going to be flying through here. Our destroyer and our vanguard are kind of leaving the middle of the map. Boy. The rallying cry for wowsl YouTubers has always been, play your side, quit abandoning your flank, right? Well, let me be the one to tell people to play the middle of the map. Quit giving up mid. It has the same effect as your flank collapsing. It's going to do the same thing. So we're going to shoot another salvo here at the key. Now that DD has backed up into the cap, and that really leaves me with no choice. I don't have a DD that is going to spot their DD for me. The carrier's not spotting them. Not that it would matter anyways now with the carrier changes, but I just can't stay here and get torped. So I'm going to head towards C, but still keep an eye on B if that makes sense. And the other thing, if you see on the map, there is a battleship going all the way around the big islands over there. Our Borodino here on this flank doesn't seem to notice, I suppose. Borodino is a battleship that you definitely do not want to leave your broadside open to any battleships, because you will absolutely get yeeted. And if you guys are interested in the Borodino, that video is up on my channel. So both of those factors are going to cause me to come over here, because I think our Borodino is just going to get absolutely wrecked. And he gets hit pretty hard there. That was probably 25k. I can't quite tell. Yeah, so we're going to move over here and make sure this Flander isn't able to come around and completely wash the side of the map. Unfortunately, the DD and B is coming straight through. I'm hoping to get a couple secondary hits on him, but there's really not a lot that I can do there. I'm more worried about this Flander at the moment. These German guns, they're always disappointing. Not only do you have the small salvo size on Tirpitz and Bismarck, the alpha is small though, and the pin always seems disappointing. It seems to be the worst of both worlds. Sometimes you overpin cruisers, yet you only have 380s and they don't have that much armor pin. I don't know. I don't know what it is. There's just something about German shells that don't perform that well for me. But the Holland is spotted here reversing, so we're going to come around the corner and try to get our secondaries and our main guns in the fight. If we can clear him out, then we're looking pretty good over here, to be honest. The secondary accuracy, if you don't have the consumable running, I mean, it's still really not that impressive. It's just like Bismarck. It's not like the battle cruisers. It's great against capital ships. Just destroyers, smaller boats, it's not that impressive. So only the Flander is left. I don't want to go all the way around the island just to get at him. I think with our Borodino still being there and one of these DDs hanging around, it'll be fine that I go ahead and move on to another part of the map. I hate getting drug out to the flank like that just to do that. Like, that is the rest of your 10 minutes of your life, is chasing one ship to the flank. And it's a strong move for the Flander to do that, sure. But yeah, we're not going to take the bait. If he is going to stay behind the island, we shall let him. And we're going to head to the middle and find these battleships and have some fun. This version of the Tirpitz, it definitely feels like you have more tools at your disposal for medium range brawling, I'm going to call it. That's like 6 to 8 kilometers brawling. The original Tirpitz, which we can call it the discount Tirpitz now, is really only a good brawler at 6 kilometers or closer, and good luck getting into that range. It's very, very rare that I ever get that close to a battleship nowadays. Even in this match, I think we barely get within 6 km of a battleship until the very, very end. So yeah, I like the fact that this Tirpitz is better at medium range brawling. The 1.95 Sigma versus the 1.90 Sigma, like I said in the Tirpitz video that we just did, oh my gosh, I've been reviewing Tirpitz. What is this, the third Tirpitz video in like 5 or 6 months? Enough already. But anyways, I can't really tell a difference of the 1.95 to the 1.90. I mean, it's still about the same. Some salvos are just going to be like, man, what was that, Hans? What kind of shot was that? And then some salvos are just going to wow you, and that is what we're going to be hoping for next, because we have a broadside key over there and a Colorado, and those are ships that we should be able to punish. They're really not that heavily armored, and these German guns should be able to deal some damage. And then we're just going to push straight at the enemy Tirpitz, who appears to be reversing, but I'm not sure. We'll take a closer look here. Shots out on the key at 15.8 kilometers. The Flanders is still behind the island. We got a good salvo on the key. Yeah, at this point, I mean, Flander, your team is getting kind of skunked. You should probably come out and try to contest the cap or do something. But anyways, the heals on this ship are great. Tirpitz has really strong heals. I think they're good for almost 13k, and I don't have the stats here in front of me, but that is one of the better battleship heals at tier 7. So those carry over to the BA Tirpitz, and it is great for situations like this when you need to get some of that health back so that you can keep pushing and having fun. Now in this game, we actually had aiming systems mod 1 on, so I still don't quite think we're in secondary range. If we had the secondary module, it would be 10.2, I believe is what I said, so we would have this guy in range. So that is one difference between this match and the second match that we're going to play, so you can kind of tell the difference. I don't know, see if you can tell the difference. But we have our secondaries in range now. And with this build, this is the Justinian Lions build, and it's the build that you get a big fire chance buff every time you hit a heal. I think it's like 48% or something ridiculous. So it's great to time your heals with this build, catch someone on a DC and, you know, set a double or a triple fire and hope they don't have fight fire with fire. The secondary consumable, I'm kind of waiting for us to pop it here. I might be waiting for my next heal, which is a pretty good strategy to use as well. Use them both in combination to set a lot of fires and have some really accurate secondary fire there for a while. The pin damage of the 150s, I think it is a lot better. Like I was talking about the stat differences for the secondary battery DPM, and having the 150s shooting every 6 seconds is pretty spicy. Sure, the 105s got nerfed down a little bit. I think they only pin 26, which, you know, coming up against these two ships here, that means they're useless except for setting fires, and it's only a 5% fire chance. So having those big 150s pumping out shells faster is really, really awesome. Now, I can't remember now if that new commander, the new collab German battleship commander, I think she has a skill that partially buffs your secondary batteries. I don't know, it keeps them from being destroyed. Is that true? I can't remember if I saw that or not. If so, that would be pretty handy on some of these German battleships. You want to take the time and the resources to level up yet another German brawling battleship commander. I don't know. I find it frustrating that even as a veteran player of 5 years and having spent a ton of money on this game, not to mention being a CC and being given most everything, I still have a very hard time leveling up commanders. The resources are extremely stingy. It is very hard to level commanders up. So even if I wanted to have Azerlane Bismarck leveled all the way up at this point, I still probably couldn't have accomplished that, you know, along with the other commanders and stuff. Yeah, so I just find myself a little frustrated with that facet of the game. You know, you could spend thousands of dollars to get your commendations, insignias, and things like that to have 16-4 commanders. With all the time that I've played this game, I still only have a handful of 16-4s, and part of the reason is because more and more commanders keep coming to the game, and that is good and bad. It's great because it offers variety for the game. You have all these fun builds you can do and things like that, and I love that. That is cool, but oh my gosh, like, if we release a better commander every 6 months, you're never going to get the best commander leveled up. You just buy the next commander and then start working on that one, and then the old commander is obsolete. Anyways, I'll get off of this soapbox. Okay, here we go into game 2. Now this is what you should probably expect. Last game was fun. We got in there and got to brawl against a reversing battleship and a couple battleships, you know, back in their spawn. But here's what you should really expect. Some DDs in front of you. There is no carrier. I'm very surprised there's no carrier. A mine spamming you from 15 to 18 kilometers. This is more like what you should expect. Now, we're still going to turn this into a decent game. It's not a complete clunker, but I just want you to pay attention to like the first, I don't know, let's say 5 to 8 minutes. Let's see. It seems like we're playing our hearts out here, doing the absolute best we can, and Yeah, at like the 8-minute mark in the match, see how much damage I have. We're going to keep taking pot shots at the mine CE, because if that ship doesn't get taken off the board, it's extremely dangerous. It's the most overpowered cruiser at tier 7, and I love to see it out in droves still. That is amazing. So we're going to keep taking pot shots at him. We are losing quite a bit of health, but that's okay. We've got big, beautiful heals, and we're going to duck behind this island here because of the torpedo threat, and to break line of sight on this mines, and maybe his little spammy brain will find another shiny target to shoot at, hopefully. The Kunaberte is right here. Let's test out this new enhanced secondary targeting consumable version 2.0. Now this one, again, the accuracy is going to be a little bit less, the grouping less, the dispersion less, for a faster reload. Does it matter? Well, you're watching what I'm watching. Like I pointed out in the last match, I don't think these German battleship secondaries are that good against smaller boats. They're good against cruisers and battleships that get up close. So the consumable, to me, you know, as I've played these games, I haven't noticed any difference. I haven't been wowed by any means. So yeah, you can decide if you think that is worth it for you or not. So the new secondaries, they are definitely powerful, right? The bigger guns firing faster, that is great. But the 7-kilometer range is also pretty good. I mean, that's getting far out there. For comparison, that's the same as the Massachusetts. As our little minesy friend sails back in here, let's see if we can get a good blow. And funnily enough, if these games were switched, if I had aiming systems in this one for these long-range shots against the mines, and in the last game I had the secondary battery module, yeah, basically they were switched on how I needed them. And that's just part of World of Warships. You're going to set a ship up a certain way, and it's going to be completely terrible in that match that you get. It's just part of it. So you can decide which one you think is worth it or not. Now, the secondaries are going to help us a little bit here against the Vladivostok. We are able to shoot him from here, and really all we care about is the fire chance, getting some fires on him, and burning those limited damage cons that he has. But yeah, 7 kilometers base, that's up there, same as Massa, and just falling a little bit behind the Bismarck, the Zeton, and the Atlantico. All of those ships have 7.5 kilometers base. Brandenburg has 7.6, Bismarck B has 7.7, and that is it. Those are the longest range secondary batteries at the tier. So I mean, it's really getting up there, and it's definitely at a comfortable state. OG Tirpitz, basically you just have to drive in and use your sword if you want to use the secondaries. So I do like that. It is a cool feature of this ship, and yeah, I mean, I think they're definitely effective. So here we are, 10 minutes into the game, 23,000 damage, baby. Oh my gosh, it's just somehow, sometimes how these ships go, I suppose. We're going to keep trudging forward though. We are winning this flank, and we're keeping an eye on the Zeton. He also has limited damage cons, so I wouldn't mind burning one of those here, shooting HE across the map and trying to break some secondaries or set some fires. And also we're going to try to edge a little more forward so that the dumb mines cannot shoot us anymore. He set a fire on us, that's okay. We can heal that back with our heals. And it looks like the Vladivostok is going to go down, and all that's left on this flank is the mines, which we can negate by hiding behind this island and letting him stay out there in the backfield. At the end of the day, the OG Tirpitz is going to be better with a main gun focus, while this one will be more fun as a hybrid with secondaries and for brawling. You can decide which one is actually better. Personally, from the concealment alone, I can take the 1.9 Sigma and the 26-second reload just to have the better concealment. I think it's 12.9 on this build, which is pretty darn good for this ship, and a pretty helpful stat. So from that one alone, it's probably worth it. Now, granted, you have to decide how much is 17,500 doubloons worth to you? You know, is this ship really worth that amount of money? Probably not. No, it's not. This still isn't the meta. It's a shiny, new, cool Tirpitz that is better, but it still has Tirpitz in the name, which is going to put it pretty low on the totem pole. If I were a free-to-play or a person trying to save money and have the most fun in wowsl that I could possibly have, what I would do is go after the Georgia. If you don't have the Georgia, it's available for like 6,500 drachmas, which is the event currency. I would go for that thing. You can do the advent calendar, the web event, and maybe buy admiralty backing and pick up the Georgia. I would say that is a much better ship than the BA Tirpitz. Granted, they're very different ships. They do very different things, but on a scale of, good to bad, Georgia is better. And, lots of other global XP battleships are better. So, yeah, BA Tirpitz is cool. She's fun. She's good. She's probably better than OG Tirpitz, but still, it is a high price to pay. Now, I know I got on a soapbox about the commanders, and I'm not saying I don't want to see collabs or have new content coming to the game. It's just sometimes it's overwhelming, even for me, who, again, is a community contributor and has been around the game since the beginning. It's a lot. And sometimes I just kind of, my eyes glaze over because I'm just done. Too much stuff, too much going on. Yeah. 59K, this game is wrapping up. The mines looks like he is about 28 kilometers away, affecting the outcome of the match, I'd say, yeah. And we are going to move up here and see if we can finally brawl, because there are 2 battleships left. One is a Zeton, one is a Massa B, and maybe they have a chunky bit of HP pool left. Oh yeah, he does. So we can get in there and actually have some fun and do what the Tirpitz is designed to do, and do what you want to do with the Tirpitz when you play the ship, but that you rarely get to do. So here we go. I think our DD is going to die. In situations like this, I know it's awful, but I'm always hoping that my teammates will die and quit taking his health because I want it. But as what happens in most situations like this, by the time you actually get to the ship you want to brawl with, they'll have like 2k health left. So you dumpster them with 4 torpedoes for 2k health. Sweet. We picked up the Confederate at 75,000 damage. Pretty sick game here. And we'll go ahead and launch torps. Now, Massa is a very maneuverable battleship, so he's going to turn in. It's just not going to matter, though, because he is getting peppered by all sides from our team, and his health will be gone before we get there. But this is more like what you should expect a pretty average game in Tirpitz, I would say. We're still going to clean up the kill, though. Yeah, there we go. There we go. Yeah, this is a fun ship. It's a fun brawler. The camo looks cool, but it's definitely not worth the money in my eyes. I am curious what you guys think of the BA Tirpitz, the Borodino, the event, the birthday, all the commanders. Let me know down below. I would love to hear from you, and that is going to wrap it up for this one. This is Derka signing off. I'll catch you in the next one. See ya.